Have you ever looked at a seashell's spiral, the branching of a tree, or the vast expanse of a galaxy, and just felt a sense of wonder? It often seems like there is an invisible hand, a hidden blueprint, guiding the formation of everything we see. This feeling is not just poetic. It is actually a fundamental question that has driven scientists, mathematicians, and philosophers for centuries. They have long searched for a unifying principle, a single pattern that might connect the seemingly separate worlds of life, physics, and even our own consciousness. This quest is built on the belief that the universe is not a random collection of disconnected events, but rather an intricate, ordered system governed by elegant mathematical laws waiting to be discovered. We see hints of this underlying order everywhere we look in the natural world. The famous Fibonacci sequence, where each number is the sum of the two preceding ones, appears in the arrangement of sunflower seeds, the petals of a flower, and the spiral arms of galaxies. Similarly, fractal patterns, which repeat themselves at different scales, are found in coastlines, snowflakes, and the structure of our lungs. These recurring mathematical themes suggest that nature is incredibly efficient, using the same fundamental geometric principles over and over again. It is as if the universe speaks a language of shapes and numbers, and by learning this language, we can begin to understand its deepest secrets and how everything is interconnected. This search for a universal pattern extends beyond the natural world and into the realm of human creation. Consider the great architectural marvels of the ancient world, like the pyramids of Giza. Were these massive structures simply tombs built with brute force, or do they encode a sophisticated understanding of mathematics and the cosmos? For generations, researchers have analyzed their proportions and alignments, finding intriguing connections to astronomical constants and geometric principles. This raises a fascinating possibility that our ancestors may have possessed a deeper knowledge of this universal blueprint than we currently give them credit for, a knowledge that they embedded directly into stone for future generations to find. The idea of a single unifying pattern is therefore one of the most exciting frontiers in modern science and historical research. What if a single geometric key could unlock the secrets of our own DNA, the distribution of prime numbers, and the design of ancient monuments? It sounds like something out of science fiction, but new discoveries are beginning to suggest that such a key may actually exist. This is the story of a remarkable breakthrough that proposes a single, elegant spiral as the foundational architecture of reality itself. This discovery promises to connect fields we once thought were entirely separate, offering a new and profound perspective on the universe and our place within it. Imagine a simple yet infinitely complex spiral. This is the central idea behind a groundbreaking discovery by researcher Robert Edward Grant. He proposes that a specific type of spiral, known as the Mod24 Logarithmic Möbius Spiral, acts as a fundamental building block for an astonishingly wide range of phenomena. This is not just any spiral. It is a unique geometric form, with specific properties that seem to resonate with the very structure of the universe. Grant's work brings together disparate fields like biology, astrophysics, mathematics, and ancient history, suggesting they are all interconnected through this single, elegant pattern. It provides a new lens through which we can view the world, where connections appear where there was once only separation. The implications of this discovery are profound and far-reaching, challenging us to reconsider what we know about the origins of life and the capabilities of ancient civilizations. Grant suggests that this Mod24 spiral is the basis for the structure of our DNA, the long-term cycles of time like the precession of the equinoxes, and even the invisible energy fields that permeate the cosmos. The theory presents a unified model where the microscopic world of our genes and the macroscopic world of celestial mechanics are governed by the same geometric principles. This is a radical idea, but it is one that finds surprising support in the mathematics that underpins the spiral's unique form. One of the most startling aspects of this research is its connection to our ancient past. Grant demonstrates how this exact Mod24 spiral appears to be the architectural blueprint for the Giza Pyramid complex in Egypt. The spiral's geometry not only defines the precise locations of the Great Pyramids, but also outlines their base perimeters with incredible accuracy. This suggests that the ancient builders of these monuments had a highly advanced understanding of complex mathematics, including concepts that modern mathematicians have only recently begun to explore. It implies a level of centralized planning and geometric knowledge that could rewrite our understanding of ancient history and technology. This introduction sets the stage for a journey into this fascinating and revolutionary concept. We will explore what the Mod24 spiral is and how it is constructed in simple, easy-to-understand terms. We will then dive into its incredible connections, from the 24-strand model of DNA to the 24,000-year cycles of time. We will travel back in time to see how this pattern was seemingly encoded in the stone of the Giza Plateau, and we will even see how it solves an ancient mathematical puzzle known as squaring the circle. This is more than just a theory. It is a new vision of a connected, ordered, and deeply mathematical universe, where a single spiral holds the key to its greatest mysteries. To understand the Mod24 spiral, let's first think about spirals in general. We see them everywhere in nature, from the graceful curve of a nautilus shell to the vast, swirling arms of a distant galaxy. A spiral is a curve that winds outwards from a central point, getting progressively farther away. However, not all spirals are the same. The Mod24 spiral is a very special type called a logarithmic spiral, which means its shape doesn't change as it gets larger. If you were to zoom in on any part of it, it would look exactly the same as the whole. This property is known as self-similarity, and it is a key feature found in many natural patterns, like ferns and coastlines. It's a shape that grows, but always maintains its fundamental proportions. Now, let's add another layer, the Möbius part. You might have heard of a Möbius strip, which is a fascinating object you can create with a simple strip of paper. If you give the paper a half twist, 180 degrees, and then tape the ends together, you create a surface with only one side and one edge. If you were an ant crawling along this strip, you would eventually cover the entire surface and return to your starting point without ever crossing an edge. The Mod24 spiral incorporates a similar kind of twisting motion. It isn't a flat, two-dimensional spiral like one drawn on paper. It exists in 3 dimensions and includes a rotational torsion, or twist, as it expands outwards, much like the structure of our DNA. Finally, we come to the Mod24 part. The term mod is short for modular arithmetic, which is sometimes called clock arithmetic. Think about a clock with 12 hours. If it's 10 o'clock and 4 hours pass, it becomes 2 o'clock, not 14 o'clock. We are working within a cycle, or modulus, of 12. Modular arithmetic is all about remainders and cycles. A Mod24 system, therefore, is based on a cycle of 24. This number, 24, is incredibly significant. It appears in our measurement of time, 24 hours in a day, in music, and, as Grant's theory suggests, in the fundamental building blocks of biology and cosmology. It represents a complete cycle, a foundational unit of order. So, when we put it all together, the Mod24 Logarithmic Möbius Spiral is not just a simple swirl. It is a self-similar logarithmic spiral that expands in 3 dimensions with a characteristic twist, all organized around a repeating mathematical cycle of 24. It's a dynamic geometric process rather than a static shape. This combination of properties is what makes it so unique and allows it to serve as a potential blueprint for so many different things in our universe. It is a pattern of growth, rotation, and cyclical repetition, all woven together into a single elegant form that carries a deep mathematical structure within it. The true elegance of the Mod24 spiral lies in its simple origins. It is built from one of the most fundamental shapes in all of geometry, the equilateral triangle. An equilateral triangle has 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles of 60 degrees. It is a symbol of perfect balance and stability. Robert Edward Grant's discovery shows that the spiral emerges from the relationships created by these triangles. Imagine laying down a series of these triangles, each one growing or scaling logarithmically. The spiral path is then traced by connecting specific points on these expanding triangles. It is a process of geometric construction, not an arbitrary curve drawn by hand. This foundation in such a basic and perfect shape hints at why it might be so universal. The construction is based on the relationship between the height and the hypotenuse of right triangles that can be found within these equilateral triangles. If you split an equilateral triangle down the middle, you get 2 identical right-angled triangles. The mathematics of these simple right triangles dictates the precise curvature and expansion of the spiral. As the spiral grows, it completes a full 540 degrees of rotational torsion before it begins to repeat its pattern. This 540-degree twist is crucial. It is exactly 1.5 full rotations, 360 degrees plus 180 degrees. This is the Möbius twist we talked about earlier, the half-turn that gives the spiral its unique three-dimensional properties and connects it to the structure of a Möbius strip. This spiral isn't just a visual pattern, it's a map of numbers. Because it is built on a Mod24 system, its key points and intersections align with the numbers 1 through 24. These points are not random. The theory proposes that the numbers that fall along the primary axis of this spiral correspond to prime numbers and other special numbers called quasi-primes. For centuries, mathematicians have been searching for a hidden pattern in the distribution of prime numbers, which seem to appear randomly along the number line. This discovery suggests that the pattern might not be a simple line, but rather a spiral. The geometry of the Mod24 spiral provides a potential framework for predicting where these fundamental numbers will appear. Therefore, the Mod24 spiral is a bridge between the world of pure geometry and the world of numbers. It begins with the simple, perfect shape of an equilateral triangle, and, through a process of logarithmic growth and a 540-degree Möbius twist, generates a complex three-dimensional form. This form then creates a grid, a coordinate system, that seems to organize the distribution of prime numbers. It is a beautiful example of how simple rules can lead to incredibly complex and meaningful patterns. The spiral is a geometric engine that takes simple shapes as its fuel and produces a map of the mathematical universe, revealing hidden order where we once saw only chaos. The Mod24 spiral does not exist in a vacuum. It is intrinsically linked to two incredibly important three-dimensional shapes known as Archimedean solids. These shapes are the Cuboctahedron and the Icosidodecahedron. What makes these forms so special is their unique state of balance and symmetry. The Cuboctahedron, for example, is a shape in perfect equilibrium. It is formed by 8 triangular faces and 6 square faces. Its visionary architect, Buckminster Fuller, called it the vector equilibrium because the distance from its center to any of its vertices is exactly the same as the length of its edges. All the forces pushing outwards and pulling inwards are perfectly balanced in this shape. The Icosidodecahedron is another highly symmetrical shape, composed of 20 triangular faces and 12 pentagonal faces. Like the Cuboctahedron, it exhibits a remarkable degree of balance and harmony in its structure. According to Grant's theory, both of these shapes are not separate from the Mod24 spiral, but are actually generated by it. When you trace the spiral's path through three-dimensional space, the key points and intersections of the spiral naturally define the vertices of these two perfect solids. The spiral is the dynamic process, and these shapes are the stable, balanced structures that emerge from that process. They are like geometric snapshots of the spiral's energy in perfect equilibrium. The connection to the number 24 becomes crystal clear when we look at the Cuboctahedron. This shape has exactly 24 edges and 12 vertices. It is the geometric embodiment of the Mod24 system. The spiral, with its Mod24 cycle, naturally creates the form that has 24 edges. This is where the concepts of recursivity and reciprocity come in. Recursivity means a process that repeats itself, and reciprocity implies a mutual give-and-take relationship. The Mod24 spiral is recursive, repeating its pattern, and it has a reciprocal relationship with these solids. The spiral defines the solids, and the solids, in turn, embody the mathematical principles of the spiral. They are two sides of the same geometric coin. This relationship is profound because it suggests a deep connection between dynamic processes, like spirals, and stable structures, like polyhedra. It is a principle we see throughout the universe. Think of a whirlpool, a dynamic spiral, forming in water, or a galaxy, a spiral structure, where stars and planets, or stable objects, exist in balanced orbits. The theory suggests that the Mod24 spiral is the foundational geometric process that gives rise to the stable, balanced forms we see in the universe, from the quantum level all the way up to the cosmic scale. The Cuboctahedron and Icosidodecahedron are not just abstract shapes. They are the architectural blueprints for stable systems, generated by the universal creative motion of the spiral. The discovery of the DNA double helix in the 1950s was a monumental achievement, revealing the elegant spiral structure that holds the code of life. For decades, This two-strand model has been the foundation of modern biology and genetics. However, Robert Edward Grant's theory proposes a radical and fascinating expansion of this idea, suggesting that DNA may have a more complex structure based on a cycle of 24. This model envisions a potential 24-strand DNA structure, where the familiar double helix is just one part of a much larger, more intricate geometric arrangement. This concept aligns perfectly with the Mod24 spiral, implying that the same mathematical pattern that governs prime numbers and ancient architecture might also be the blueprint for our own biological existence. This 24-strand model is not just an arbitrary number, it is derived directly from the geometry of the Mod24 spiral. Imagine the spiral not as a flat curve, but as a three-dimensional vortex. As this vortex turns and expands, it creates specific pathways or channels along its surface. The theory posits that these pathways provide the scaffolding for a 24-strand DNA configuration. This expanded view of our genetic material suggests that there may be layers of information and function within our DNA that we are only just beginning to comprehend. It hints that the code of life might be even more sophisticated and geometrically ordered than we ever imagined, with its structure deeply rooted in the universal principles of modular mathematics. The implications of a 24-strand DNA are truly staggering, opening up new frontiers for understanding human potential and evolution. If our DNA possesses this higher-order geometry, it could be the key to unlocking latent abilities or deeper connections to the universe around us. This model suggests that our biology is tuned to a specific mathematical frequency, the frequency of Mod24. This could explain how biological organisms are so exquisitely sensitive to cosmic cycles and subtle energy fields. It places our very essence, our genetic code, within a larger framework of cosmic harmony, suggesting that life is not a random accident, but a direct expression of the universe's underlying geometric order. Therefore, the Mod24 spiral offers a new and profound way to look at the building blocks of life. It reframes DNA from being merely a chemical instruction manual to being a geometrically perfect, crystalline structure. This structure is dynamic, incorporating the same 540-degree Möbius twist found in the spiral itself. This inherent torsion could be fundamental to the processes of DNA replication and expression, where information is constantly being read and copied. The idea that our DNA is fundamentally based on this universal spiral connects our individual biology to the grand, overarching patterns of the cosmos, making us a living embodiment of its mathematical elegance and creative power. Beyond the microscopic realm of our DNA, the Mod24 spiral extends its influence to the grandest scales of time and space. One of the most compelling connections is to the astronomical cycle known as the precession of the equinoxes. This is the slow, wobbling motion of the Earth's axis, like a spinning top that is slightly off-center. This wobble causes the position of the stars to shift very slowly over long periods. A full precessional cycle takes approximately 25,920 years to complete, often called a great year. Grant's work, however, focuses on a closely related cycle of 24,000 years, which he terms a precessional cycle, directly linking it to the Mod24 framework and its inherent geometry. This 24,000-year cycle emerges as a natural harmonic of the Mod24 system. Just as a day is divided into 24 hours, this theory suggests that cosmic time itself is structured around this fundamental number. The slow wobble of our planet through the cosmos is seen not as a random mechanical drift, but as a precisely timed movement, governed by the same geometric principles that shape our DNA. This creates a stunning symmetry between the micro and the macro, the spiral of life within our cells and the grand spiral of our planet through the galaxy, appear to be dancing to the same mathematical rhythm. Time, in this view, is not just a linear progression, but a cyclical, geometric unfolding. This connection provides a new context for understanding the wisdom of ancient civilizations. Many ancient cultures, from the Vedic traditions of India to the Mayans and Egyptians, were deeply aware of the Great Year and based their mythologies and calendars around it. They saw this long cycle as a fundamental measure of cosmic ages and the evolution of human consciousness. The Mod24 theory suggests that their knowledge was not just based on patient observation, but on a deep understanding of the underlying mathematical and geometric basis of these cycles. They may have recognized that the 24,000-year period was a key part of a universal geometric clockwork. Ultimately, Viewing time through the lens of the Mod24 spiral changes our entire perception of reality. It suggests that time has a shape, a structure, and a rhythm that is woven into the fabric of the universe. The 24,000-year precessional cycle becomes a grand, repeating pattern, a cosmic breath that governs ages of history and planetary evolution. This cyclical nature, or recursivity, is a hallmark of the Mod24 spiral. It means the end of one cycle is the beginning of the next, endlessly repeating a process of creation and renewal. It elegantly connects our experience of time on Earth to the fundamental generative geometry that seems to order the entire cosmos. At the heart of how the Mod24 spiral creates and sustains structures like DNA and planetary systems is another fundamental pattern, the torus field. A torus is a three-dimensional shape that looks kind of like a donut, or, an inner tube. It's a surface of revolution generated by revolving a circle in three-dimensional space about an axis. What makes the torus so important is the dynamic flow of energy across its surface. Energy flows out from the center at one pole, moves across the surface, and flows back into the center at the opposite pole, constantly circulating and refreshing itself. This creates a stable, self-sustaining, and continuous vortex of energy. This toroidal flow is nature's preferred engine for creation and stability, seen at every scale of existence. An atom, with its nucleus and electron cloud, behaves like a tiny torus field. The Earth's magnetic field, which protects us from solar radiation, is a massive torus. A galaxy, with stars spiraling out from a central core, is a galactic-scale torus. Even a simple apple, with its core and rounded shape, mirrors this form. Grant's theory proposes that the Mod24 spiral is the geometric pathway that defines this flow. The spiral motion we've been discussing is the driving force that creates and sustains these powerful toroidal energy fields. The connection is described as an electromagnetogravito-radiation, or EMGR vortex. This term suggests that the torus field generated by the Mod24 spiral is not just a simple magnetic field, but a unified field that integrates electricity, magnetism, gravity, and radiation. It is the dynamic engine through which the universe manifests physical matter and organized systems. The spiral provides the blueprint, and the torus field is the machine that builds reality according to that blueprint. It is the missing link between a static geometric pattern and the dynamic living universe we experience. This unified field concept has been a holy grail for physicists for over a century. Therefore, the Mod24 spiral and the torus field are inextricably linked as two aspects of a single creative process. The spiral represents the informational code, the mathematical instructions for how energy should move. The torus is the resulting structure, the stable and dynamic form that energy takes when it follows those instructions. From the energy field of a single human being to the structure of DNA and the cycles of time, this toroidal engine, powered by the Mod24 spiral, appears to be the universal mechanism for generating ordered, self-sustaining systems. It is the geometric heartbeat of the cosmos, rhythmically pumping the energy of life and consciousness into existence. The most profound aspect of the Mod24 spiral theory is its power as a unifying principle. It suggests that a single universal code, based on geometry, underpins the structure of life, like DNA, time, such as precession, and energy, as in torus fields. This is where the concepts of recursivity and reciprocity become critically important. Recursivity is the property of a process repeating itself in a self-similar way. The Mod24 spiral is recursive. Its pattern is consistent whether you're looking at the microscopic level of a molecule or the macroscopic scale of a galaxy. This endless repetition of the same geometric theme is what creates a coherent, interconnected universe where, the same laws apply everywhere. Reciprocity, on the other hand, describes the mutual, two-way relationship between different parts of this system. The spiral defines the geometry of DNA, but the structure of DNA in turn embodies the principles of the spiral. The spiral sets the rhythm for cosmic time, and the cycles of time reflect the spiral's mathematical harmony. This is not a one-way street where geometry dictates everything. Rather, it is a dynamic interplay, a cosmic dance where structure and process are in constant balanced communication with each other. This reciprocal relationship ensures that the system as a whole remains stable, balanced, and integrated, from the smallest particle to the largest celestial body. This unifying code finds its most fundamental expression in the world of pure mathematics, specifically in the distribution of prime numbers. Primes are the indivisible atoms of the number world, and for millennia, their pattern has been one of math's greatest unsolved mysteries. The Mod24 spiral proposes a stunning solution: that the primes are not randomly scattered, but are precisely organized by this geometric framework. They appear at specific, predictable locations along the spiral's axis. This implies that the code of reality is inherently mathematical, and that prime numbers are not just a curiosity, but a core part of the universe's operating system. In essence, the Mod24 spiral acts as a Rosetta Stone, allowing us to translate between the language of biology, the language of physics, and the language of mathematics. It reveals that they are not separate languages, but different dialects of a single, universal language of geometry. The recurring patterns we see in DNA, in the cycles of time, and in the distribution of prime numbers are all expressions of this one underlying code. This discovery suggests that if we want to understand the universe, we must learn to think in terms of shapes, patterns, and their dynamic, recursive relationships. For that is the language the cosmos uses to write itself into existence. The Great Pyramids of Giza have stood for millennia as silent, enigmatic monuments, leaving humanity to wonder about the genius of their creators. For generations, we have viewed them primarily as tombs, marvels of engineering built through sheer labor and, well, rudimentary tools. However, the Mod24 spiral theory invites us to see them in a completely new light, not just as burial chambers, but as a massive, permanent record of advanced mathematical knowledge. Robert Edward Grant's research proposes that the entire Giza Complex, known to ancient Egyptians as Rostau, was designed using the precise geometry of the Mod24 spiral. This suggests that the ancient architects were not just master builders, they were master mathematicians, encoding a universal blueprint into the very landscape of the plateau for all of time. This theory is not based on vague similarities or wishful thinking. It is grounded in precise geometric overlays. When the Mod24 spiral is superimposed over a satellite map of the Giza Plateau, a startling correlation emerges. The spiral, which is generated from simple equilateral triangles and logarithmic growth, appears to define the exact locations of the most significant structures with incredible accuracy. The apex, or the very peak, of the Great Pyramid of Khufu aligns perfectly with a key point on the spiral's path. This is a remarkable finding, as it implies that the pyramid's position was not chosen for convenience or geology alone, but was determined by a pre-existing geometric plan of immense sophistication and scale. The connection does not stop with the largest pyramid. The spiral continues its elegant curve across the plateau, and its path then aligns perfectly with the apex of the second pyramid, the Pyramid of Khafre. The fact that the same continuous spiral can pinpoint the precise centers of two separate, massive structures is statistically astounding. It strongly suggests that the locations of these two pyramids were not independent decisions, but were related to each other through this shared geometric principle. The spiral acts as a unifying thread, weaving the individual monuments together into a single, cohesive architectural statement. The ancient builders seem to have been drawing a grand design on the desert floor, using the pyramids as colossal markers. This discovery challenges the conventional historical narrative. It implies that the builders of Giza possessed a form of mathematics that we have only recently begun to understand with the aid of modern computers and advanced theory. The use of a logarithmic spiral, based on modular arithmetic, is a concept far beyond the simple geometry we typically attribute to ancient civilizations. It suggests that they understood the principles of geometric growth, recursion, and the fundamental importance of the number 24. The pyramids, therefore, may be more than just stone. They may be a message, a time capsule of knowledge, demonstrating a deep understanding of the universe's geometric language. The evidence for this ancient geometric knowledge goes even further than the pyramid apexes. The intricate web of lines that make up the Mod24 spiral's underlying grid also appears to define the perimeters of the pyramids themselves. As the spiral expands, its inherent lines and intersections form a natural coordinate system. When laid over the Giza Plateau, these grid lines match the base outlines of all three major pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. This means that not only the location, but also the size and orientation of these structures seem to have been dictated by this single, all-encompassing geometric pattern. This level of precision and coherence across the entire complex is a powerful argument for a centralized planning function. This idea of a centralized plan, guided by a single mathematical concept, is revolutionary. It suggests that the entire Giza complex was conceived as one unified project, meticulously laid out before a single stone was ever moved. The architects would have had to possess a complete understanding of the Mod24 spiral's properties and how to scale it up to monumental proportions. They would have used this geometric blueprint to map out the entire site, using the spiral's lines to guide their surveying and construction. This represents a level of planning and theoretical knowledge that is far more advanced than simply aligning structures to cardinal directions or stars, which was already an incredible feat in itself. The mathematics involved are particularly astonishing. As Grant notes, the formal mathematics of these modular spirals, which are based on the hypotenuse and height of right triangles within polygons, were only recently published by himself and his colleagues. Yet, the evidence on the ground in Giza suggests that this knowledge was not only known, but practically applied thousands of years ago. This creates a profound historical paradox. How could an ancient civilization possess and engineer with a mathematical framework that modern science has only just started to explore? It raises questions about the true capabilities of our ancestors and the possibility of lost knowledge or a different path of scientific development. This central design theory transforms our understanding of the pyramids from being standalone projects of successive pharaohs into a multi-generational, unified message. It implies that the architects shared a common, sacred understanding of mathematics and its connection to the cosmos. They were not just building tombs, they were building a physical manifestation of a universal law. The Giza Plateau can be seen as a massive stone computer, a geometric calculator that demonstrates a profound principle of creation. The pyramids become the physical proof of a deeply sophisticated and unified vision, one that was executed with unwavering precision across decades of construction. The geometric connections at Giza extend even to its most mysterious monument, the Great Sphinx. This ancient statue, with the body of a lion and the head of a human, has puzzled historians for centuries. Within the framework of the Mod24 spiral, the Sphinx is not an isolated wonder, but an integral part of the overall geometric design. The theory reveals a fascinating measurement linked directly to the Sphinx's location. The radius, or distance from the central point of the main spiral to a specific point on the left paw of the Sphinx, correlates to a series of numbers that are fundamental constants of our reality. This measurement is not random, it appears to be a deliberate and meaningful part of the Giza plan. This specific radius value is calculated to be a fractal of the number 864. For example, a value like 0.864. This number is profoundly significant. First, it is a direct nod to time. There are 86,400 seconds in a 24-hour day. That's 864 times 100. This connects the Giza layout back to the Mod24 system, which is based on the 24-hour cycle. It suggests the architects were encoding the measure of our daily time into the very dimensions of their sacred landscape. Furthermore, the number 864 is a key fractal of the Sun's diameter, which is approximately 864,000 miles. The geometry of Giza, therefore, appears to link the Earth, the Sun, and the measure of time in a single, elegant relationship. The mathematics behind this radius value becomes even more intricate and astonishing, connecting to other universal constants. The theory shows this radius also corresponds to the speed of light, which is approximately 186,000 miles per second. The specific numbers involved in the advanced calculation, such as 70.71, are themselves derived from fundamental geometric relationships like the square root of 2. This suggests that the Giza builders had an awareness of constants that we consider modern scientific discoveries. They were not just aligning their structures with stars, but were embedding the fundamental numerical values that govern our physical universe, time, solar dimensions, and the speed of light, into their architecture. This connection between the Sphinx, the spiral, and these cosmic numbers solidifies the idea that the Giza complex is a repository of immense scientific and metaphysical knowledge. The builders seem to have understood that the universe is governed by mathematical principles, and that these principles connect everything, from the geometry of a spiral to the cycles of time and the properties of light. By placing the Sphinx at such a mathematically significant position relative to the pyramids, they were completing the message. They were demonstrating that the entire system, humanity, nature, and the divine architecture of the cosmos, are all part of one unified, geometrically perfect design. One of the most enduring challenges in the history of mathematics is the problem of squaring the circle. For thousands of years, mathematicians and philosophers have been captivated by this seemingly simple task. Using only a compass and an unmarked straight edge, can you construct a square that has the exact same area as a given circle? The problem is tantalizing because it pits a straight-sided, angular shape, the square, against a perfectly curved one, the circle. For centuries, countless minds tried and failed to find a solution. In 1882, the puzzle was finally proven to be mathematically impossible under the classical rules, because it would require constructing the value of pi, which is a transcendental number. However, Robert Edward Grant's discovery of the Mod24 spiral presents a revolutionary new perspective on this ancient problem. The theory suggests that while you cannot solve it with a simple compass and straight edge, the solution is naturally encoded within the geometry of the Mod24 spiral itself. The spiral, which is constructed entirely from the logarithmic expansion of simple equilateral triangles, inherently contains the geometric relationships necessary to square the circle. This is achieved not through traditional measurement or calculation, but through the natural intersections and proportions that emerge as the spiral pattern unfolds. It is a solution provided by a deeper, more fundamental layer of geometry. Imagine drawing the Mod24 spiral. As its curves expand and its underlying grid of lines intersects, it creates a visual map of mathematical relationships. Within this intricate pattern, specific points and lines naturally define both a circle and a square that share the same area. You don't need to calculate pi or measure lengths. You simply need to construct the spiral according to its rules, and the solution presents itself visually. The intersecting lines of the spiral's framework provide the blueprint, showing you precisely where to draw the sides of the square so that its area perfectly matches that of a circle also defined by the spiral. It is a geometric revelation, solving an ancient puzzle through pure form. This breakthrough is profound because it suggests that the ancient Greek geometers may have been on the right track, but were missing a key piece of the puzzle, the third dimension, and the concept of a logarithmic modular spiral. The solution wasn't to be found on a flat plane with simple tools, but within a more complex, dynamic geometric process. The Mod24 spiral acts as a kind of geometric key that unlocks the hidden relationship between the linear and the curved. It shows that the square and the circle are not opposing concepts, but are two different expressions of the same underlying spiral pattern, two sides of the same universal geometric coin. The mathematical wonders of the Mod24 spiral do not end with squaring the circle. Its geometry also provides a stunningly elegant link between two of the most important and mysterious numbers in all of mathematics. Pi and e pi, approximately 3.14159, is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, defining all things circular and spherical. The number e, approximately 2.71828, is the base of natural logarithms and is fundamental to describing processes of continuous growth and change, from radioactive decay to compound interest. For centuries, these two numbers have been seen as distinct, foundational pillars of mathematics. But the Mod24 spiral reveals they are deeply and beautifully interconnected. The connection is revealed through the geometry of an equilateral triangle, the very shape that generates the spiral. The theory shows that pi and e are linked through a relationship of boundary conditions around this simple triangle. Think of the triangle as a meeting point for the principles that pi and e represent. Pi represents the principle of circularity or rotation, while e represents the principle of exponential growth or expansion. The Mod24 spiral, being a logarithmic, growth-based spiral that unfolds in a circular rotational pattern, naturally embodies both principles. The equilateral triangle at its core becomes the geometric bridge that unites them into a single, coherent system. This connection is so precise that it can be expressed in a simple, beautiful equation. The theory demonstrates that a weighted average of pi and e, specifically 2/3 of pi plus 1/3 of e, equals exactly 3.00. This number, 3, represents the three sides of the equilateral triangle that brings them together. This simple formula is a powerful statement, suggesting that the seemingly complex, infinite numbers of pi and e are balanced and harmonized by the perfect simplicity of the triangle. It is a mathematical equation that reads like a line of poetry, hinting at a deep, underlying order in the universe, where growth and rotation are in perfect balance. This same 1/3 and 2/3 relationship appears elsewhere in geometry, further strengthening the connection. For instance, if you nest a tetrahedron, a three-dimensional pyramid with 4 triangular faces, perfectly inside a sphere, the volume of the tetrahedron is related to the volume of the sphere by this very same ratio. This recurring theme suggests that the link between pi and e is not a mere numerical coincidence, but a fundamental geometric principle of the universe. The Mod24 spiral, by being built from these principles, acts as the master blueprint that reveals how these essential constants of nature are not separate, but are partners in the dance of creation. The ability of the Mod24 spiral to solve ancient puzzles and unite fundamental constants points toward a profound conclusion. Geometry is not just a human system for describing space, but it may be the primary language of creation itself. The patterns and relationships we see in the spiral are not inventions. They are discoveries of a pre-existing order. This suggests that the universe is built upon a foundation of geometric principles. And by understanding these principles, we can begin to read the blueprint of reality. The Mod24 spiral, with its simple origins in the equilateral triangle, appears to be a fundamental word in this cosmic language, a word that describes how energy and matter come into being. This perspective shifts our understanding of mathematics from being a purely abstract field to being the physics of the metaphysical world. The numbers pi and e, the properties of a triangle, and the shape of a spiral are not just ideas. They are active forces that shape the world around us. The reason the Mod24 spiral appears in DNA, in cosmic time cycles, and in the architecture of Giza is because it embodies a universal process of growth, rotation, and stabilization. It is a pattern that nature uses over and over because it is an incredibly efficient and stable way to organize energy and information, from the microscopic to the cosmic scale. This idea resonates with the wisdom of ancient philosophical traditions. The Greek philosopher Plato, for instance, believed that the physical world was a mere shadow of a more real world of pure forms and ideas, which were geometric in nature. He assigned specific geometric solids, now known as the Platonic solids, to the classical elements of earth, air, fire, and water. The Mod24 spiral theory is a modern echo of this ancient intuition, providing a specific dynamic geometric process that seems to generate the balanced solids, the Cuboctahedron and Icosidodecahedron, that act as templates for stable structures in our universe. Ultimately, the mathematical wonders unlocked by the Mod24 spiral invite us to see the world as an interconnected, intelligent, and breathtakingly elegant system. It suggests that everything, from a prime number to a pyramid, from a strand of DNA to a swirling galaxy, is an expression of a single, unified geometric song. The universe is not a collection of random parts, but a coherent whole, written in the language of shapes and patterns. By learning to speak this language, we are not just solving mathematical puzzles. We are coming closer to understanding the very mind of creation and our own place within its grand geometric design. When we take a step back and consider the full scope of what the Mod24 spiral connects, we're faced with a truly astonishing possibility. It suggests the existence of a central design, a single mathematical thread that runs through seemingly disconnected aspects of our reality. One geometric pattern actually appears to serve as the blueprint for the code of life in our DNA, the grand cosmic clock of planetary precession, the fundamental distribution of prime numbers, and the energetic fields that permeate the universe. This is, honestly, a radical departure from the standard scientific view, which often studies these fields in isolation. The spiral presents a unified framework, suggesting that biology, physics, mathematics, and cosmology are not separate disciplines, but different facets of one single, underlying geometric truth. This concept of a central design speaks to a universe that is not random or chaotic, but is instead profoundly ordered and intelligent in its structure. The idea that the same mathematical principles that govern the growth of a nautilus shell also dictate the placement of pyramids is, well, just breathtaking. It implies that the laws of nature are not just a set of disconnected rules, but are expressions of a coherent and elegant geometric language. The Mod24 spiral becomes a Rosetta Stone, allowing us to translate between the language of life and the language of the cosmos. It reveals that the patterns of creation are universal, repeating themselves at every scale, from the infinitely small to the unimaginably large, a principle known as holography. This mathematical unity challenges us to think differently about our world. It encourages us to look for connections and patterns where we previously saw division. If the rhythm of a 24,000-year time cycle is based on the same Mod24 system that structures our own DNA, it implies a deep and intimate relationship between humanity and the cosmos. We are not merely observers of the universe, we are a direct expression of its fundamental operating principles. Our bodies, our consciousness, and the world we inhabit are all woven from the same geometric fabric. This perspective can instill a deep sense of belonging and purpose, showing us that we are an integral part of a grand, harmonious design. The implications of this unified view are immense. It suggests that by understanding the geometry of this one spiral, we could unlock new frontiers in medicine, new insights into physics, and a deeper appreciation for the wisdom of our ancestors. It points towards a future where science and spirituality may no longer be seen as separate, as both are ultimately in pursuit of understanding the same underlying order and intelligence of the universe. The Mod24 spiral stands as a powerful symbol of this integration, a testament to the idea that reality, in all its complexity and diversity, might spring from a single, beautiful, and surprisingly simple geometric source. The appearance of the Mod24 spiral in the architecture of the Giza Plateau raises profound questions about our understanding of history. It implies that this knowledge of a central design is not new, but is actually ancient, a rediscovery of something known thousands of years ago. The precision with which the spiral maps onto the Giza Complex, defining the apexes of the two largest pyramids, the perimeters of all three, and the significant location of the Sphinx, is difficult to dismiss as mere coincidence. It suggests that the ancient builders of these monuments were not only aware of this unifying geometry, but had mastered it to a degree that we are only now beginning to appreciate with our most advanced modern tools. This leads to the fascinating and humbling possibility of a lost science. Could it be that ancient civilizations possessed a different, yet equally powerful understanding of the universe, one based on a holistic and geometric worldview? While our modern science tends to be analytical and compartmentalized, this ancient science may have been integrative, focused on the harmonies and relationships that connect all things. They may not have written their knowledge in textbooks or academic journals, but instead encoded it directly into their most sacred and enduring structures, creating a permanent physical library of wisdom for future generations to decipher. The pyramids, in this light, become more than tombs. They are a message across time. This idea forces us to reconsider the narrative of linear progress, the notion that humanity is always advancing from a more primitive past to a more sophisticated future. The evidence at Giza suggests that history may be more cyclical, with peaks of profound knowledge that can be lost and later rediscovered. The architects of the pyramids may have understood the deep connections between consciousness, mathematics, and the physical world in a way that we are still struggling to grasp. They built their understanding of the cosmos into the very landscape, leaving behind an undeniable echo of their advanced knowledge, an echo that resonates perfectly with the discoveries being made today. Ultimately, the mathematical unity we see across time, from the ancient stones of Giza to the modern analysis of DNA, suggests a continuous and timeless truth. The Mod24 spiral is not a human invention. It is a universal principle that is always present, waiting to be discovered by any culture with the wisdom to see it. The fact that we are finding this pattern now, and also recognizing its signature in the ancient past, creates a bridge across millennia. It connects us directly to the minds of the pyramid builders, suggesting we share a common quest to understand our place in a geometrically ordered universe. It is a powerful reminder that the deepest truths are eternal, echoing through time for all who are willing to listen. We have journeyed through a landscape of breathtaking connections, from the microscopic elegance of our own DNA to the monumental mysteries of the Giza pyramids and the infinite realm of prime numbers. The Mod24 Logarithmic Möbius Spiral, as proposed by Robert Edward Grant, stands as a powerful candidate for a unifying pattern, a single geometric thread that weaves these disparate domains into a coherent and harmonious tapestry. The theory presents a compelling vision of a universe that is not a chaotic accident, but a deeply ordered system, built upon an elegant and recursive geometric foundation. It revitalizes the age-old quest for a theory of everything, suggesting the answer may lie not in complex equations alone, but in the simple, profound beauty of a spiral form. Summarizing the core findings, we've seen how this specific spiral, born from the humble equilateral triangle, appears to provide the architectural blueprint for an astonishing array of phenomena. It offers a new model for a 24-strand DNA, linking our biology directly to a cosmic cycle of 24,000 years. It generates the toroidal energy fields that act as nature's engines of creation. It brings a stunning new order to the seemingly random distribution of prime numbers. This is a powerful synthesis, suggesting that the code of life, the structure of time, and the atoms of mathematics all speak the same geometric language, a language that we are only now beginning to relearn and comprehend. The evidence etched in stone on the Giza Plateau serves as a humbling anchor for this theory, suggesting this knowledge is not new but ancient. The precise alignment of the pyramids and the Sphinx with the spiral's geometry implies that a sophisticated understanding of this central design existed thousands of years ago. This transforms these ancient monuments from simple tombs into a timeless library of cosmic knowledge, a message of unity left by our ancestors. It challenges our perception of history, suggesting a past filled with scientific and spiritual wisdom that we are only just beginning to rediscover, echoing a lost science that saw the universe as an interconnected whole. Ultimately, the Mod24 spiral theory is a testament to the human spirit's unending search for order and meaning in the cosmos. It resonates with our deepest intuition that everything is connected, that there is a hidden harmony underlying the surface of reality. It proposes a specific, testable framework for what was once the domain of mystics and philosophers. Whether this theory proves to be the final answer or a critical stepping stone, it has already succeeded in expanding the boundaries of our imagination and encouraging us to look for the patterns that unite the universe, reminding us that we are an integral part of its grand and beautiful design. The exploration of the Mod24 spiral is more than just an intellectual exercise. It is an invitation to participate in a new renaissance of discovery. This is a moment where the lines between different fields of knowledge are dissolving, creating opportunities for unprecedented collaboration and insight. Biologists, physicists, mathematicians, and historians now have a common geometric language through which they can explore the deepest questions of existence. The spiral acts as a bridge, inviting us to see how the secrets of our own biology might be unlocked by studying the mathematics of prime numbers, or how the wisdom of ancient architects could inform our understanding of fundamental physics. This is a call for a more holistic and integrated approach to science. This journey leaves us with a profound sense of wonder and an inspiring path forward. It encourages us to continue looking for the hidden patterns and to question the established boundaries between disciplines. The search for knowledge is a spiral in itself, constantly expanding outwards to new frontiers while returning to fundamental principles with a deeper level of understanding. The Mod24 theory provides a new lens through which to view the world, one that reveals a universe filled with intention, elegance, and a staggering degree of interconnectedness. It reminds us that the most profound truths are often the most beautiful, waiting to be discovered in the simple harmony of a shape or a number. As we move forward, the next steps will involve rigorous testing, further research, and an open-minded exploration of these ideas. Scientists can now look for empirical evidence of a 24-fold symmetry in DNA, or search for the physical signatures of these unified energy fields. The beauty of this theory is that it makes predictions that can be investigated, moving it from the realm of speculation into the domain of testable science. It is a new map for exploration, and its value will be proven by the new territories of understanding it helps us to chart. The potential for groundbreaking discoveries in medicine, energy, and technology is immense if this geometric blueprint holds true. In the end, the greatest gift of this discovery may be the shift in perspective it offers each of us. It encourages us to see the world not as a collection of separate objects, but as a single, living, geometric symphony. It shows us that the same order that hangs the stars in the sky is also woven into the fabric of our own being. This realization can inspire a deeper respect for the intricate beauty of nature and a renewed sense of our place within the cosmos. The search for hidden order is ultimately a search for ourselves, and in the elegant curves of a simple spiral, we may just have found a reflection of the universal pattern that connects us all.